Veterans are the lifeblood of American freedom, serving in some of the harshest situations to secure that freedom across the globe. This is the Lounge with Legends show, celebrating their transformation from battlefield to business. The Lounge with Legends show with Marty the Moac Martinez and James A. Phelps, a.k.a. Spartan 6.
What's up?
What's going on?
Sitting
We're
out the
live.
social status real quick.
Yeah,
And
I'm here too.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to be here right now because we had a pretty big week. We had Veterans Day that we just finished up, and then we had your TED Talk, and so those two events.
The talk had me.
Those two events, and then going into Thanksgiving next week and Giving Tuesdays and all this stuff. I just wanted to talk, just take a moment and just talk about giving thanks and in kind of what you were talking about during your podcast or your TED Talk, your TEDx, about the premise behind that. So with that, how was your Veterans Day?
It was great. I mean, I was able to celebrate it with family. Had an amazing event at my daughter's school, and just the power, just the power of to see a school actually celebrate that was amazing. Because a lot of schools, we kind of there's a day off. You know what I'm saying? They look at it as a day off, and the thing that I liked that that they talked about was, hey, we're in school and we want to, pay tribute to you all on this day. Instead of taking the day off and taking a knee, they actually wanted to bring in veterans and share the celebration that way. So we went in, it was amazing. Had a commander come in and speak from the Navy, and then just have the kids sing all the branches and their songs. I still got to figure out why they keep singing. I know it's the original one. I get it. But the caisson keeps coming. I don't like singing about a caisson. I'm sorry.
So did they sing Space Force?
They have not yet. I think that I did hear like the theme song to like Voltron or Star Trek come on, but they haven't even accepted the Space Force yet. No.
Yeah, it's a new song. First time I heard it was at the Veterans Gala and Veterans Connect. It was okay. I mean, I honestly thought I didn't know what to expect. Whether it was going to be a kazoo or if it was going to sound like Star Trek meets Star Wars. But it sounds like a normal song. But so you met with them. What did you what did you talk about during your opportunity?
During the TED Talk?
No, during the with your daughter. Did you get to
I didn't speak during that. I wasn't the speaker. I was participating. So what happened was my daughter was able to escort me in, and they were all waving the flags, and it was just, to be, transparent. It was one of the reasons a few years back, the school decided, I attended the event as a guest, and it was one of the reasons why we decided to, enroll her in that school. It was probably the majority of the reason. We like to say the Pledge of Allegiance. They have the same values that we tend to seem to agree with mostly. No, there's nowhere perfect, obviously, but I mean, it's a great environment to learn, and it was just a great experience every year. This is the fourth time now that I've been now to that school and actually attend that event. It's a great event. Next year, I'm going to be nervous though, because I need to invite someone else, because next year I'm going to be nervous because I'm getting I need to start memorizing that the Army song the way they sing it.
Right. So I had it was on TV, but I had the opportunity to check out the American Valor event, and it was aired on Fox NBC on Veterans Day. But that was an event prior. And again, thanks to David Vardaman on that one. He was, David Vardaman, previous guest from March. What I loved about that event was that we actually had. It's one thing to read what's going on, Cousin Nick. It's one thing to read about history, but it was totally different to hear about it, hear the story, and it's narrated. All the stories were narrated by Tom Cruise, Chris Pratt. I mean, big names, big movie stars, and they're reading the story. Then the actual people that they're talking about that were in those dogfights, that was the Tuskegee Airmen, that was the very first Top Gun, actually came on the stage and shared their story with us firsthand. And that was awesome. Rob Ringel was there. So it was an interesting way to give back. And then on Veterans Day, we went to the Army Navy Country Club for the Navy Safe Harbor event with, again, David Vardaman. Thanks again. Because that was another amazing opportunity for that. And then after all that,
amazing pictures too, man. You're being modest. You had some amazing pictures at those events too. I was like, I mean, those are some heavy hitting events there.
Yeah, I mean, they're Rob Ringel was the MC. Absolutely amazing guy. If you're familiar with him and the work that he's done. I'm looking over here because I want to see if I wanted to show got to meet Rosie Riveters. I mean, it was just absolutely, it was made you really appreciate our heroes. Really did. That's what it had for me. And then I think one of the coolest things is getting to sing Blood on the Risers with the with one of the guys. But can I share this with you, James? Can I share
it?
I want to see if I can pull it up, but
while you're doing that, I want to tell Nick. I know he popped on there earlier, but we're still praying for you, and for your continued health, so and everything else. So we appreciate everything you're doing and tuning in and being a loyal fanatic of Lounge with Legends.
So yes, absolutely. So this right here, this is one of the original Top Gun, and he's sharing his story. And actually, they hid the original Top Gun trophy, and it was found basically in a closet, much like when Patton died in Heidelberg. His thing was his original room was used as a broom closet, but these people were hiding it, and so it was amazing that there's the picture of it, and we never saw it again. And it was because he was black, and they didn't like that he was black and he had won the original Top Gun trophy. And so there it is. They found the trophy after it was very first presented. They cleaned it up, and there it is. And it was just like, wow. I mean, that's history, to see the first Top Gun trophy, to listen to the guy from the movie that was the pilot, the co-pilot with Tom Cruise, and then listen to the real Top Gun, and see his trophy. It was pretty awesome. I mean, not enough great things to say about the event. There's a table we were at. This here, do you remember League of Their Own?
Yeah, that looks very familiar.
These are the ladies. They're standing there, and they were escorted out, and then they got to tell their story. And they are every bit as feisty as the movie. Absolutely. I am telling you, it was absolutely amazing. The lady over here on the left, she's a pistol, man. I'm telling you. Her, I don't know if you can see it.
I see it. Looks like a bat. Is she carrying a bat?
It is. Her walking stick is a friggin' bat.
Holy
it's like,
cow.
Oh my God. And so, yeah, it was awesome to listen to them. This one over here, she was cracking us all up because Rob Ringel asked her a question and she goes, well, hold on. This is the first time I've had a man like this on my arm in a while. So I'm just going to be in a happy place. So, it was so amazing. That's the lady from Yellowstone. I haven't seen the series yet.
Everybody's talking that. That's another example of how marketing works. Everything has Yellowstone, #Yellowstone right now. Have you been watching that show?
I haven't seen any of it, but
I've never watched it either.
I haven't. I just started watching Peaky Blinders because it popped into my feed, and I was like, "What is this show, man?" So I'm only like 6 years behind, I guess. I found out they're already on season 7, season 6. So
I won't ruin anything for you.
This guy here, James, this was amazing. Talk about being thankful in a room. He is the only living ace pilot in America right now.
That's right. You told me about him.
5 MiGs in Vietnam, and absolutely crazy. I mean, just listening to the story, absolutely amazing.
Do you know what kind of airplane you were flying?
I don't remember. I suck. I don't remember.
Well, I mean, I just didn't know because I didn't know. I was just trying to picture what it could have been.
This guy they're walking up. He's one of the original 101st guys in World War II, and he's telling his story about how they were at the Battle of Bastogne, and you can see the pictures in the back. And I guess his buddy was wounded, and so they was like, "What can I do for you?" And he says, "Well, give me some beer." He goes, "Where the hell am I going to find beer at?" He goes, "Just go into the city and see what you can find in the old tavern." So he did. And he goes in there, and sure enough, he pulled one of the taps, and it was pouring beer. And he's like, "Holy crap!" So the only thing he had was his helmet. So he used his helmet, which he had peed in hours before and shaved in hours before, and now he's filling it with beer. And then he's carrying it back, and he gives it to his buddy. And then the other guys are like, "Whoa, what do you have there?" So he was making multiple trips back and forth and feeding or giving beer to his comrades. And then the chaplain caught him. He said it was the chaplain, and said, "What are you doing?" He says, "Caring for the sick and wounded." And so this guy was absolutely amazing. Just listening to his story, dude, it was like, wow, what a hero, man. What an absolute hero that this guy was there. I don't know if it'll play him singing.
I saw that.
No, that wasn't it. I was trying to see if. Oh, there it is. He was supposed to sing. Because of the fact he was on liberty or on leave, and they were basically cashing in their advance checks and just going different places, and they were able to get a whole bunch of cash. It was still pretty dry back then, and they went over to Scotland and bought a case of Johnny Walker, and then just started partying at one of the taverns and stuff. And so they were singing. They were singing the songs, and it was absolutely amazing. But this is.
The kingdom of the living should
No more. Die. Are those all legs standing up?
I think I was the only one that was singing over my.
They didn't know the words.
Yeah, Navy SEAL Medal of Honor recipient there with David Vardaman.
Don't be dropping any future guests. These are all surprises. Don't tell any future guests yet.
Bob Riggle, one of the baseball ladies with Misty there. Just it was a really great event. Listening to them share their stories firsthand, it's different. Again, reading it from a book, but listening to them. So you've seen it. Have you ever seen this picture, James?
Yes.
He was there, and he told us the story about how this happened. He didn't even know her.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
He had just came back from the Pacific, and he watched what the nurses have done, taking care of the sick and the wounded on the front lines. And he was on R&R, and he went up to New York. He was trying to find his previous girlfriend who had moved to New York, I believe it was. And while he was at the bar, they announced the end of the war. Mm-hmm. And he's in New York City. Everyone's outside. And so he runs out there and he sees a nurse, and he gave her a kiss. He was just that thankful. Didn't know her. And it was absolutely crazy. And he didn't even know this picture was taken. It was his buddy.
The assumption that the girlfriend that he was coming to see probably wasn't his girlfriend after this picture.
I don't even know if he said. But yeah. So it was a while back after Life magazine pushed this on the cover that his buddy says, "Hey, were you in New York at the end? Yeah. Did you kiss a girl? Yeah." And he's like, kind of that, totally reminds me of something we would be doing. But and that's when he saw this, and it was pretty neat. So yeah, that was the American Valor event, and it's absolutely amazing. They have a wonderful podcast where they bring on, and I've heard them before, they bring on like one of the original SEALs who are in their 90s and telling their story, and how they transitioned from UDTs, underwater dive teams, to SEALs, and they bring all these on there. So the American Valor is doing a lot of great stuff. Great organization. It's apropos that Rob Ringel was there, because I kept calling it the Catalina Wine Mixer of veteran events. Do you remember that Catalina Wine Mixer? Step Brothers? No. Rob Ringel? Catalina freaking Wine Mixer, man. Come on, Nick. I know you know. Come on, Nick. Help me out here.
Nick, that's the kind of movies Nick watches. Yeah, for sure.
But it was absolutely amazing. And so, but that was how Veterans Day went. I didn't even get a chance to go get a free Applebee's or anything. It was just because we did lunch with Navy Safe Harbor and got to listen to a bunch of their stories. And so,
I was so stressed out, man, just getting ready to speak. I don't think I did much. Oh, my mom came over with my dad, and I had some great Korean food. So I had a great Korean food Veterans Day meal.
Nick is not letting me down.
I figured he would be able to. I figured Nick would be able to chime in on that one for sure. I knew it. So thank you, Nick. Though Nick's been supporting me, man. I don't know if I told you this, but I got a text from him yesterday. He's like, "How'd it go?" Because I haven't really said anything. I've posted a couple of reels or whatever on Instagram, posted maybe a couple pictures on LinkedIn, but really haven't said a whole heck of a lot about it. But I wanted to just say thanks to Nick for checking in on me. He said, "How'd it go?" I'm sure it was great. I'm sure it was amazing. So I appreciate that. And that's just, it's just another illustration of, and just even with you being able to be friends with David Vardaman, being able to attend these amazing events that he has access to. It's just the power of supporting one another. So just another example of that.
Yeah, it really is about support. So Saturday was a blur for you. You were just rehearsing and getting ready.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And so now that it's done, what advice do you have for people that want to share their one thing with the world as a TED talker or public speaker?
So I just grabbed this book, and go figure who gave me this book. You're going to never guess.
Nick Phelps.
No. So I went up to visit somebody by the name of Marty Martinez, and he told me, you need to read this book. And I did. While I was reading this, the thing that I thought was amazing, I'm sitting here reading this book, and then I see a name that's been on our show before. I said, wait a second. A gentleman by the name of Matt Eversman is in this book. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I sent him a message. I said, dude, you're in this book too? You're everywhere. But anyway, the reason why I show this book is I would recommend the first thing you need to do is read this book prior to even thinking you have a message. Because I don't know if we all have a message, but this kind of breaks it down in the way to help you present that. But for me, it was simple. I was motivated probably about 7 or 8 months ago by you telling me that I was going to put in an application. I said no. And then I think originally we were trying to do it so we could do a battle buddy pair where it would be two of us doing on the stage at the same time. And that was kind of shot down. But then eventually it came, and I honestly thought that I had missed the deadline to apply. And this year, so you asked a question one day. I don't know what happened. I just said, you know what? I'm just going to apply and see what happens. I filled out the application, hit submit. And the next thing, about 2 months later, I totally had forgotten about it. And then I got this email saying, hey, you were selected to be one of the speakers. I was like, holy cow. I said, what am I going to do now? It's getting real. Yeah. And that's when I started actually thinking about the message at that point. I didn't start thinking about it. I had my initial app. I knew big picture, but I didn't really hone in with it. I had to hop on a few calls with you and then get some mentorship and some help from a gentleman by name Cesar. If anybody wants his name, you can reach out to me. I'll give his contact out. He helped me as well. But the main point with me rambling is it's required. Yeah, I was up there on the stage, but it required a lot of people to get me up there. I wasn't up there by myself.
Right.
I even had, if you remember, Izar, he was on our show a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago. He sent me a direct message, and said, hey, you're going to do amazing. And while I was there, I think we both even made the comment, and I even shot it back to him. I said, we were talking about be the stage, because that's his thing, be the stage.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the stage. I said, okay, be the stage. I even had one of our other guests, Bill, reach out to me. Let me grab his book.
McCluskey.
No, better. Not better, but you're close. Hold on. Let me grab.
Bill Kiefer. Yeah.
Bill Kiefer. He's been sending me messages because he's a TEDx speaker. But he spoke before on TEDx, and he was kind of giving me some advice. Right? What's that?
TEDx Toledo.
I think he did. And then another TEDx speaker that we had on our show reached out to me. Guess who that was?
Besides Matt Eversman?
Well, okay, that's one of another, but there was another one. One of the original ones we had in the very beginning. Starts with a J. Okay, he was on it too, but close.
Who was it, man?
Jeff.
Jeff Dardia?
No.
Oh, Jeff Hoagland.
Yes. He reached out. The reason why I keep bringing that up is every one of these folks reached out to me. They reached out and said, hey, you're going to crush it. And it's just uplifting. Bill sent me a message actually this yesterday too, asking me how
it's
it went.
funny is that as you're playing this game, I'm thinking about how many people that have done TED Talks have been on the show, and then we just added now 2 more in the same day.
Shh. Those are future guests. Shh, shh.
Wait, no, she was already on the show.
I thought you talked about future guests. Who was on who as well? Who am I missing?
Chief.
Oh man, I totally forgot about that.
She was right after you, but Chief Patterson. But
oh gosh, how did I forget that, dude? She was amazing. She inspired me so much after her talk. I was ready to I was picking up paper, ready to go. I was like, oh man, I was so motivated after her. She was amazing.
She had a great message. I mean, but I think what the point, and kind of reeling it back to the purpose of the show, is we showed the pictures from American Valor and giving thanks to those heroes that went before us and those that supported us in our freedoms. And then James with his TED Talk and all of our previous Lounge with Legends guests and TED Talks still supporting. It's another way of supporting, and it kind of says it goes along with what you talked about, right? Never service ends with the contract.
Right. Well, that there just the thing is that part there, I actually was taught. I first heard it from an intern that worked for me when I had my first business, and it was a Marine, and she said the service never ended with a contract. So during the actual TED Talk, though, I twisted it, and the reason why I twisted it around is because I feel like it shouldn't have began with one either. It should just be a part of life. We should all be serving others, because that's the greatest thing that anybody can do, is to be of service. So that's why I said, yeah, go ahead.
Your TED Talk is coming out in about 2 to 3 weeks.
That's right.
So in anticipation of that, what's a brief summary about what your one message is? 'Cause that's what TED Talk is. You have one message that you have to share with the world. And so what was your one message that you shared with the world?
So for me, it went back to the basics, right? I talk about this, and it goes back to, the topic for every speaker this year in Raleigh was bridge the gap, right? Bridge the gap was the overall theme of the entire event. And for me, and the message that I said was, I just used the military as an example of how we can bridge the gap with selfless service. So we bring the value of selfless service back. And that's what the whole premise of the whole premise of my talk was. It wasn't about me. And you've heard this motto before. If you've ever been around me, it's not about me, never has been, never will be. That's what it's about. It's about filling and bridging the gap with selfless service. And it's the easy things, and I talked about this too. It's the easy things that we can do. It's not about service to the military. And I'm glad you brought that up, Marty. At the end, we had that question right there, that picture there, the question and answering period. And I don't know if you remember the question a lady in the audience asked me, but she
should
asked,
everyone serve?
Yeah, and you know what? I gave a terrible answer, and I'll tell you the reason why. I've been thinking about
that was
this.
The actual face when she asked him. James was like, "Oh, geez."
I'm glad it's very small. You can't really see it, but when she asked me the question, I gave the answer that I felt was the honest truth at that moment. And then I've actually thought about it last night. I've thought about it the last three nights, and I said, you know what? I'm going to revisit that, because she asked, should everyone serve? And the answer, in the military, that was her question specific. Should everyone serve in the military? And I said, yes. And you know what? I'm going to have to say that I disagreed with my answer now. And after putting some more thought behind it, and I'll tell you the reason why I disagree with it, is I think one of the things that makes our military so great and so strong is the fact that it's volunteer. It's volunteers that are standing up, that are willing to serve and sacrifice for others, right? And we talked about selfless service. The truest gift of selfless service is to give without wanting anything in return, and that's the spirit in which we should give. And the thing is, when I was thinking about this, like I said last night again, I think that the response I should have gave her should have been even in my TED talk. You don't have to be in the military to be of service, but we can use the military as an example. So my answer should have been to her, we all don't have to serve in the military, but we all should be serving each other. School teacher, a firefighter, a law enforcement officer, doctor, nurse. That's the requirement that we should have. We should all have a 2-year minimum requirement to serve others, but it doesn't have to be in the military. So that's what I should have said. Anyway, what's your thoughts on that?
No, I think I agree, and we talked about that. Service doesn't have to be in the military. First responders, law enforcement, helping others, just by donating coats. Now that we're to the homeless, there's multiple ways that you can serve humanity, and I think once you do that, it gives it brings us all closer. At the end, James was very excited, as you can see. He was on top of the world.
Is that the one with my eyes closed?
Don't think so. No, your eyes are open.
Oh, see,
that's the one where your eyes are closed.
Oh, I see. I could see a slight difference. It was a great experience. I looking back on it, it was an honor. First off, just to be on the stage with the folks that were on there, I was like, wow, that was kind of the first thing. And then after Chief Patterson, for some reason, when you say Chief, I go to parade rest because I think of my father, right? Because he was the first chief of my life. So I was like, Chief. And then I was thinking, Chief, before I was just, anyway, bottom line is after she spoke, I already knew she was going to be amazing, right? I already knew it. I told her she was the cleanup hitter, right? I said I was the setup person and she was going to be the cleanup batter. And man, I tell you what, her message, her delivery, her leadership is so amazing to me. It really inspired me just to be able to hear that. When it's released, I'm going to ask everyone, encourage everyone to go back and watch all the speakers speak, and then give us some opinions on it. But she did an amazing job. They all did, actually. Everyone did a great job.
Right.
I didn't say myself though. I'm still criticizing.
You're a harsh critic of yourself. You did an amazing job. And I think you learned a lot about yourself in the process. You relearned how you memorize and retain information and what doesn't work. And then what's the boiling. I think the hardest thing as a writer, as someone who presents and shares their idea, is what you went through from probably about Tuesday on. And that was, you have put all your babies, these beautiful sentences and ideas, into your speech, and now you have to kill your babies. That's the way you have to think about it, right? You had to kill your little babies to get it so that you can memorize it and share your idea, because otherwise, what the hell good is it if you have all this stuff but you can't retain it? So that's the hardest part, is deciding what to get rid of after you've already put it in.
The funny thing is, now I can actually say it better. It's weird. It's just, but to be transparent, it was like the 8th version, right? I got kicked back by the folks there several times. So when I got to it, I think, the other part of that would be, it also allowed me to go through that whole imposter syndrome as well, right? I was going up and down that journey. And there again, I'll say it out here publicly. Marty drove down all the way from Virginia to come down here and check us out. And that meant a lot, because, here's the thing. Marty, first off, my wife, she had to hear it a million times, but Marty had to hear it a couple thousand times, right? So that's what it was about. It was just being able to rehearse, and then have that support. Because I can tell you, when I was looking out into the audience, I messed up in the beginning. And the reason why I messed up was I did the number one rule you're not supposed to do. I made eye contact directly with pretty much 5 or 6 people I did not know in the room, sitting in the room to listen. And I was I actually felt like somebody had hit me in the stomach, right? But then as I eased into it a little bit more, it became those familiar faces that were supporting me. So we positioned my parents to the far left, had my wife right there in the center, had my former XO, James Hampton, there to the front. And then, of course, there's a little LPOP to the right, and the right flank was Marty Martinez there. So those were the things that pushed me through, because it was that support that helped me actually get through. And then, of course, all the text messages and stuff afterwards. But during the actual execution of it, I have to give you all kudos, because I wouldn't have been able to pull it off without you all's help. So thank you. I'll drink my coffee to that.
It was worth the drive down and drive back.
You don't drive your car, drive yourself. Don't lie to people.
It was worth something driving.
Yeah.
But it was really awesome to be there, because these are those, once in a lifetime opportunities. You'll never have another first TED Talk. You may have 10 more, but you'll never have a first again. And to be there and share the moment with you and your family was pretty awesome. And even getting to spend time with Chief and your mom was
well. I'm
cool.
excited too. I think that just because of this, like with this particular event in this location, I think we're going to be able to provide some more assistance. Be more involved with the actual event here locally in the Raleigh community. And then I think it's going to open up a lot more well, I'm not going to say I think. I know it's going to open up a lot more opportunities for all of us. So I'm excited.
So we finished that off. You're still in the glow, and it's going to hit you again once it's actually on the street, which is going to be really cool. But now we're getting ready next week to go into Thanksgiving. And as we do this and we hear about the Native Americans and the Pilgrims and giving thanks, what are you thankful for going in?
Well, first off, I have to, not trying to take anything from what we always say, but my freedom, right? The freedom to be able to gather together and celebrate with my family and friends. Mm-hmm. To me, that's the number one thing. And of course, my health, and then being able to, have the beliefs that I have and follow the religion that I follow. So it's just, those are the things that I'm most thankful for. And I tell you, it's been a journey, through, and once again, since we're giving thanks, I'll go back, and even though I was your boss for, I think it was about 7 weeks or so,
72 hours,
it keeps going down. That's what I understand. But anyway, I'm thankful that you got me reading again. I really am. I can't tell you, I'm sitting here surrounded. You gave me, well, speaking of that, of course, Marty always comes down, and this guy, I had to say this because I know people are watching and they're going to want to know, did Marty give James a freaking book to read when he came down here to Raleigh? The answer is yes. So now he's got
his autograph.
I know, but he goes, hey, dude, you're going to read this one next. I say, come on, man. I'm still reading these. I'm sitting here playing catch up, right? So it's just.
So the reason, okay, hold on. The reason I chose Tim.
Thank you for making me read again.
I met with Tim. This book is absolutely amazing. I'm going to hop on a call here in a bit with Tim and talk about him. I know we're not supposed to have a future guest. We're trying to woo Tim. Tim actually was like employee number 1 or 2 with Donald Miller at Story Brand. He took him from 5-figure to 8-figure company. And in this book, The Secret Society of Success, I'll put a link to the Amazon where you can buy it. Stop chasing the spotlight and learn to enjoy your work and life again. If that's not James Phelps and what you're talking about all the time about it's not about me, never has been, never will be. I told James as I'm reading this, and you all check the book out. It's absolutely amazing. Chapter 1 talks about Michael Collins. Michael Collins from the moon landing. Who the heck is Michael Collins? You hear about Buzz, right? You hear about the other guy, right? But who the heck's Mike Collins? Mike Collins, the guy who basically Ubered them up to the moon and then circled the moon while they did the moon landing and then Ubered back, right? I mean, that's the only way to put it. Someone had to stay in the ship, even though he was just as qualified as the other two. He actually did that. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. He did that, but he doesn't. You never hear about it. But without him, the mission wouldn't have been successful. So that's why I told James, you got to read this. But we talk about it in terms of spotlight rangering. People chasing the spotlight, the glory hounds, how the what's in it for me mentality that they teach it, these business colleges and stuff is absolutely wrong and decaying society. That's why I love this book. That one, and then the other one I bought from Zoe Chance, Influence is Your New Superpower.
See, you didn't give me that one, so that's not officially on my read list until you give me.
It's not. It's not, but I should have. This one was signed, but
nice.
But that was coming. But
I know. But like I said, I appreciate you doing that because I mean, I think not all leaders. Or what is the quote? I think Ryan Holiday says it. It's not all readers are leaders. Not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. Does that make sense? And that's what he says. He says, "Look, a real leader is going to read." The worst advice I ever received was somebody telling me to stop reading.
Don't say who it is.
I won't.
We don't need that.
It was me. It was me.
No, I mean, but a lot of people stop reading, and it's you can't, especially right now. I mean, we will spend so much time on Facebook and social media and all this stuff, and when someone asks you to read, you're like, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." Well, why not? It's how you're going to learn.
It's a lot of power there. I think I was going to pop this in there. You see that Robert talking about listener, like thanks to Audible. So I'll tell you a secret for me. And I think I learned this here again. It comes to another book that Marty recommended for me, but I am like this guy. He likes to do Audible book at the same time like me. So it's like, I listen to Audible and I read at the same time so I can get all those learning tools focused in and honed in on it. So I listen to Audible and I read at the same time. So that's the best way for me to learn. But speaking of thankful too, Marty, I'm thankful for this guy.
Who's that?
Right here. Casey West. Never, you don't know him? The rumor has it he was the best scout that 325 had back in the day. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what he would say, right?
That is what he would say. That is what he would say.
It is, but he got to see, he was down here at Bragg, and because of the TEDx thing, I wasn't able to link up with him because I was too stressed out. But he got to meet our old first sergeant down there.
Oh, Shisaki.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
down there with First Sergeant Sasaki. That was amazing getting that picture from them too. But those are the things I'm thankful for. So thank you for telling me to read, making me read again.
Oh man, you have to. I know Casey can't read, never read his Ranger Handbook, but if I would tell him to start reading as well. But
some folks had to read it more than once because they had to go a couple times. I read it one time.
I think for me, the thing I'm thankful for going into this holiday is it's definitely for the ability to spend Thanksgiving and these holidays with family. Even if I'm not physically with my family, at least now we have the technology like FaceTime and stuff like that, because we talked about why I didn't get to go to the military influence, or why I chose not to go. Not I didn't get to, why I chose not to go to the military influencer conference. Mm-hmm. And it was because I chose my family and the memories of Halloween and the birthday over a conference. And it was hard because you're putting, but it's one of those things, putting family before business. You can't always do that, but when you can, you should try to do that, because just like we said in the military, when you hang up the suit, The Army will forget you. It's an evil mistress. Your family will hopefully still be there. And so that's why I made the decision, because the family is there. And that's why this weekend, or this Friday, we're driving down to Disney instead of flying, which would have been faster and all that. But just doing that and stopping in Savannah. And you know, my son hasn't done Vinnie Van Gogos and all that. So
first off, let's get this cleared up real quick. Driving, no. Riding, yes. Once again, he doesn't drive anymore. He rides. His car drives himself. He doesn't drive. So when he says driving, I'm just laughing because I know that he's sitting back chilling. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm enjoying the scenery." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." He's just sitting there chilling and riding.
It is kind of cool. It's like, how many times have I done the drive up from Bragg to up and down 95? But now I actually get to, you know, enjoy this the scenery a bit more as if I was a passenger. But you still have to pay attention. It can't fully drive itself. You have to keep your hands on the wheel.
I won't mention the first night that you got it, and I was up in Virginia, and we may or may not have blew through a red light. Almost.
We did not go through the red light.
We didn't, but you slammed the brakes. You're like, "Oh, it's not safe."
I had to. I didn't understand how autopilot worked yet. I was just literally like hours into it.
I thought I was going to be a statistic there with you for a second.
So other events going on this month. What else do we have? You've got something big brewing. Can you talk about it or not?
Yeah, sure. We can talk about it real quick. So a lot of people don't realize that because what's the word I'm looking for? Because we always, people asking us for things and opportunities and live events, I think live events is kind of turning into our jam somehow here. Right. But we here in Raleigh are going to have an amazing event, a 3-hour workshop, and it's going to be for free. I said free for the first 50 that sign up. Okay. The first 50 to sign up. I know what you're thinking. Please drop the link in the comments. I can't drop the link yet because it's still classified. So you're getting a head start on this. Right. But if you know a real estate agent, it doesn't matter what firm or agency, and it doesn't even matter what area. If you can get to Raleigh, North Carolina on November 30th and allocate 3.5 hours of your day, you're going to learn how to dominate your market again on this in this current economic times, right? In this current shift.
Wait. So what are you talking about? How you're going to talk about?
I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing it. But I'm the MC, right? I'm the MC for it. I'm the host. But we are bringing in, I don't know if you've heard of this guy, the list boss, Haas Pratt, right? Yes. This guy's coming in. He is going to teach. We're able to negotiate with him. He's coming into Raleigh. This is for any real estate agent that's out here, November the 30th. You're going to be able to sit down with Haas Pratt in Raleigh, North Carolina. He's coming all the way. Guess where he's coming from? Texas, of course, right? Coming from Texas. He's going to come in here and teach you how to dominate your market. This is an amazing book too, and I know you're not a real estate reader much, Marty, but this might be one you want to add to your collection. This might be the only book that I've had that you might not have had. You probably already read it too, knowing you.
I have not read it, but I will.
Okay, but you will, and we'll get an autograph from him too as well. So it's going to be a great event. One of the things I don't know if we talked about it on the show or not, but recently, the trip that I did to Vegas was for the EXP Military Network. Well, since coming back from that EXP Military Network, myself, along with Rick Ship, is the team lead for the state of North Carolina for EXP Military Network. So with the help of that and the help of the real estate team and EXP, we're able to bring this in. You don't have to be an EXP agent to attend. If you want to come to the event, just message me. I promise you it'll be a great, amazing experience. And after that, you're going to leave with something you can actually take action on, a plan.
That sounds too long? Like a lot. No, that sounds like a lot. How much does it cost again?
The first 50 is going to be free. The first 50, not going to pay $1. It's going to be free. Limited seating, right? We could get 150 in there, but I think we're really going to try to keep it down to 100. And
Nice.
We've got some good vendors and some sponsors that are coming in, local mortgage companies, some national title companies, some the EXP Military Network is a sponsor as well. We're doing some things, and it still goes back to this whole topic of Thanksgiving, right? About giving thanks, and that's the whole reason why this EXP Military Network exists. It exists to help you survive and thrive, right? We've served and sacrificed for our country. There's no reason why we all can't have the American dream and succeed in real estate as well. So if you're a military spouse, military supporter, military veteran, this is opened up for you. Give me a shout on that. Send me a message on LinkedIn if you're interested, or Facebook. It's going to be an amazing experience. And I know it'd be amazing too, because I was doing sound checks yesterday. I sent Haas his intro song, but his intro song is AC/DC Thunder, of course. So he's bringing in the thunder, and it's at a local facility. Let's just say this: the sound system there is amazing, and I didn't want to leave the rehearsal yesterday.
Nice. Well, let's get that link out there as soon as we can. And then I'm working on something. I wasn't supposed to tell anybody. I'm working on something with Donnell Johns over at Veterans Growing America. Again, live event doing Sergeant Major. Working on something. What you doing over there with Sergeant Major? Well, if you're in the DMV area, you got to go down to Woodbridge to check out Veterans Growing America and what they're doing. It's a veteran pop-up shop. But Donnell and I have been talking about this. That's great on the weekends. They're doing amazing stuff. But what about during the week? What about 5 days during the week? How do they continue to give back? So what we're going to do is we're going to give some of the classes that we're doing, the workshops that we do, me and you and I, on the Avengers Guide to Building Superhero Branding and Authority Marketing. We're going to talk about how to invite people into story, leveraging the hero's journey. We'll talk about how to create online sales scripts that close. So a lot of good hands-on training and workshop there or here in Woodbridge, Virginia. So it's awesome. Stay tuned. Donnell and I are hammering out some items, and then we'll post that link as well for people to register. I think they can get 50 people there on Woodbridge as well.
I like those smaller groups, because when you get in that smaller group, it gets you that interaction, and you can actually get the attention that you need. Not all of us are supposed to go to big colleges. I went to a small university. So it's just, it's sometimes those smaller classes are great. But I was going to say also, you're going to be, we also have some stuff. February the 15th, we'll be teaching elevator pitching. Elevator pitch is here at the City Club in Raleigh.
Back to City Club. It's been 1 year.
Yeah, back to the club. And then in the fall, we're going to be bringing a workshop there. We haven't zeroed in or narrowed. We've got it narrowed, the short list of things we're going to talk about. If somebody wants to give us suggestions or recommendations for a workshop that you'd like to have, pop them in the comments, or suggestions. Just email us or text us. Casey, if you want to text us, you can text us direct. But we got a lot of events. I forgot to mention too, this weekend, this Saturday here in Raleigh, we got our Christmas parade. So guess who's going to be on the Christmas float this year?
Oh, they finally found a Grinch.
To be fair, I was asked to be the Grinch, yes, but I was able to find a volunteer that wanted to be the Grinch, and I said, you know what, I'm going to pass this year on the Grinch. I'm going to be out there, but I got a Marty the Moax suit that I'm going to be rocking on that Christmas parade. But This parade's pretty huge, man. This thing is like 250,000 views a year, and it's the biggest parade south, of the big Macy's parade. It's the big one for us. It's the big parade here for the South. So it's going to be a great event. Got a float. Proud of my wife. She's going to be there representing her brand and her company and her law firm that she's had here for 18 years. So it's going to be an amazing, amazing time.
That is awesome. Casey, what's up. He's a Grinch.
I didn't deny that, right? I didn't say that I didn't. Most of the time they called me Ebenezer. I'll take the Grinch. I think Ebenezer's, a little bit meaner. So the Grinch is probably more my speed, smaller heart, right?
As we're talking about giving thanks, I want to take a moment and give thanks for all the fans that have gone to our gone on YouTube and given us liked and subscribe to the channel, and also make comments. It really helps us get the word out about what we're doing. Another way that you can help us out is to go to Patreon.com/lounge-iwth-legends and consider giving a donation so that James and I can continue the show on and bring on amazing guests. We're getting to the point now where people want to charge for their time, rightfully so. And so James and I are always looking for help, and then helping us move Lounge with Legends into our bigger party and actually get us into an actual booth. We'll see, inshallah. As we used to say.
Big sponsors coming.
But this is awesome. I just wanted to take this moment and share with everybody all the big things that are coming up and being thankful for. And I guess if you can let us know in the comments, whatever social media you're watching this from, what is the number one thing that you're thankful for in this holiday season, especially in November? What is it? Is it thankful for your freedom? Are you thankful for family, for having food, for shelter, for the liberties? What are those things? Having a job, it's, honestly, one of the things we can be thankful for that we haven't even mentioned is we just finished another amazing election system, and the reason I say it's amazing is because, we may disagree on who's running and different people and the choices you have, but the fact that we're not in a civil war like some of the countries that we've served in, where they couldn't even have something as something that's just a undeniable right of yours to vote, and we did another one this year. And whether you liked the candidate that went up and now won or not, it went off without a hitch. There's no lynch mobs. There's none of that. So that's something we're thankful for, to live in a country like this, I think.
100%.
But, so let us know, Casey. I'm expecting to see what you're thankful for.
Also, what guests they want. Like, what guests, Casey and Robert, Nick, what guests do you want to see on the show? Because remember, Marty and I are not the legends. It's our guests that come on. It's all about sharing their story, not our story. Yeah, every once in a while we'll go off on a tangent or have an episode where we'll kind of give you an update and see what's going on and tell you what's going on. But it's really about those guests. If you have an amazing veteran supporter, military spouse that would be a great guest, please introduce us. Do a warm intro. We'd love to bring them on so you can cheer them on.
Absolutely. I really appreciate that. The helping us continue to bring in amazing guests will be very appreciated. So thank you. And I think with that, let's close it out. What do you think?
I appreciate it. You have a great Thanksgiving and safe travels to Florida.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank y'all.
You've been watching the Lounge with Legends show, countering the narrative that veterans are all broken misfit toys. Veterans are the lifeblood of American freedom. Serving in harsh situations, coupled with their training, have forged them into some of the most resilient and capable leaders in the world. And that's where we come in, celebrating the success stories, taking you on a journey of transformation from military to business. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back soon. But find us on Facebook at Lounge with Legend or at JTF214. Till next time.